It occurs to him, my teacher holds such a doctrine and view as this. Anyone at all who speaks falsehood is bound for a state of misery, bound for hell. Now I have spoken falsehood, so I too am bound for a state of misery, bound for hell. Thus he acquires such a view. If he does not abandon that assertion, that view, he will be, as it were, dropped off in hell. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says that this teacher says that anyone at all who breaks the precepts is bound for hell. So his disciple, the disciple of that teacher, he has full confidence in that teacher. He believes thoroughly what the teacher says. So because these precepts, it's not possible to keep 100%. So because he has broken some of the precepts, so he believes what the teacher says, that he is bound for hell. And then the Buddha says, if he holds such a view and such an assertion, and his state of mind is like that, so when he dies, he will naturally go to hell because he believes that he is going to hell. So which reminds us there's a lot of wrong views around, and a lot of people believe their teacher and believe all these wrong views. And the Buddha says, if you have wrong view about kamma, then you either one of two rebirths, one is hell, the other one is the animal realm. Then the Buddha continued. But here, head man, Tathagata arises in the world, an Arahant, perfectly enlightened, accomplished in true knowledge and conduct, fortunate knower of the world, unsurpassed teacher of persons to be tamed, teacher of devas and humans, the enlightened one, the blessed one. In many ways he criticizes and censures the destruction of life, and he says, abstain from the destruction of life. He criticizes and censures the taking of what is not given, and he says, abstain from taking what is not given. He criticizes and censures sexual misconduct, and he says, abstain from sexual misconduct. He criticizes and censures false speech, and he says, abstain from false speech. Then his disciple has full confidence in that teacher. He reflects thus, in many ways the Blessed One criticizes and censures the destruction of life, and he says, abstain from the destruction of life. Now, I have destroyed life to such and such an extent. That wasn't proper, that wasn't good. But though I feel regret over this, that evil deed of mine cannot be undone. Having reflected thus, he abandons the destruction of life, and he abstains from the destruction of life in the future. Thus there comes about the abandoning of that evil deed. Thus there comes about the transcending of that evil deed. He reflects thus, in many ways the Blessed One criticizes and censures the taking of what is not given, and he says, abstain from taking what is not given. Now I have taken what is not given to such and such an extent. That wasn't proper, that wasn't good. But though I feel regret over this, that evil deed of mine cannot be undone. Having reflected thus, he abandons the taking of what is not given, and he abstains from taking what is not given in the future. Thus there comes about the abandoning of that evil deed. Thus there comes about the transcending of that evil deed. He reflects thus, in many ways the Blessed One criticizes and censures sexual misconduct, and he says, abstain from sexual misconduct. Now I have engaged in sexual misconduct to such and such an extent. That wasn't proper, that wasn't good. But though I feel regret over this, that evil deed of mine cannot be undone. Having reflected thus, he abandons sexual misconduct, and he abstains from sexual misconduct in the future. Thus there comes about the abandoning of that evil deed. Thus there comes about the transcending of that evil deed. He reflects thus, in many ways the Blessed One criticizes and censures false speech, and he says, abstain from false speech. Now I have spoken falsehood to such and such an extent. That wasn't proper, that wasn't good. But though I feel regret over this, that evil deed of mine cannot be undone. Having reflected thus, he abandons false speech, and he abstains from false speech in the future. Thus there comes about the abandoning of that evil deed. Thus there comes about the transcending of that evil deed. Stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says, he's unlike that Niganta Nataputta. That Niganta Nataputta says that if you break any of the precepts, you will definitely go to hell. But the Buddha doesn't say that. Buddha says breaking the precepts is not skillful, not wholesome. Criticizes the breaking of the precepts. And the Buddha encourages his disciples to abstain from wrong conduct. So to keep the precepts. So when a person follows the Buddha and when he reflects that he has broken the precepts, he knows that he should not have done it. But the Buddha doesn't say that he will go to hell. So he realizes that it's not good. So he makes a determination that in the future he will not do it again. So that's the way we practice the precepts, just like a child or a baby learning to walk. When the baby falls down, he gets up and tries again. Falls down, he gets up again. Gets up as many times as is necessary. So in the same way, when we keep the precepts, every now and then we break the precepts. But doesn't matter how many times we break, we just keep on trying to behave better. So especially when we reflect, before we came to the Dhamma, we did a lot of wrong things. At that time, because of ignorance, we did a lot of wrong things. We broke the precepts. But now that we understand that it's not good, so we don't walk that path, because that path goes to the woeful plains. So we slowly change our character for the better. So slowly as we change our character for the better, and then slowly we become like the ugly duckling, becoming a beautiful swan. And the Buddha continued, having abandoned the destruction of life, he abstains from the destruction of life. Having abandoned the taking of what is not given, he abstains from taking what is not given. Having abandoned sexual misconduct, he abstains from sexual misconduct. Having abandoned false speech, he abstains from false speech. Having abandoned divisive, actually it's not divisive speech, this should be malicious speech. Having abandoned malicious speech. Malicious speech means speech that is motivated by anger. And there are two types of speech motivated by anger. One is slandering somebody else, telling lies, slandering another person, or hearing A talking bad about B, you go and tell B, A said such and such a thing, and you cause A and B to quarrel. So that is divisive speech. So this is having abandoned malicious speech. He abstains from malicious speech. Having abandoned harsh speech, he abstains from harsh speech. Having abandoned idle chatter, he abstains from idle chatter. Having abandoned covetousness, he is uncovetous. Having abandoned ill will and hatred, he has a mind without ill will. Having abandoned wrong view, he is one of right view. Stop here for a moment. So here is a list of all of the 10 unwholesome kammas. This is something you must always keep in mind. You must memorize these 10 unwholesome kammas because it is very important to abstain from these 10 unwholesome kammas. They are kammas through the body, speech and mind. Through the body, there are 3 wrong kammas, 3 evil kammas. One is killing, another one is taking what is not given or stealing. Third is sexual misconduct or adultery. So the body, 3 evil body kammas. Then 4 evil verbal kammas. Through the mouth, we can do wrong by false speech, lying. Secondly, malicious speech. Then thirdly, harsh speech or coarse speech, using foul language and loud speech and all that. Then the fourth is idle chatter, gossip. So through the mouth we can do 4 wrong kammas. And then mental kamma, there are 3. First is covetousness, greed for other people's things, greed for other people's property, greed for other people's husband or wife, is covetousness. And then the second mental evil kamma is having a lot of ill will, having a lot of anger and hatred in the mind. That is the second one. The third one is wrong view. Wrong view means not believing in karma vipaka, not believing that after death there is rebirth, that there is life, not believing that there are holy men who walk the spiritual path and can become liberated and all that. So that is wrong view. So these 10 always keep in mind not to do any one of these 10 unwholesome karmas, because if you constantly do any one of these evil karmas, can bring you to hell. And the Buddha continued. Then headman, the noble disciple, who is thus devoid of covetousness, devoid of ill will, unconfused, clearly comprehending, ever mindful, dwells pervading one quarter with the mind imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, he dwells pervading the entire world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility, without ill will. Just as a strong conch blower can easily send his signal to the four quarters, so too, when the liberation by mind of loving kindness is developed and cultivated in this way, any limited karma that was done does not remain there, does not persist there. Stop here for a moment. This one is liberation by mind or release by mind of loving kindness. That means the mind is so strong, it radiates loving kindness. We can call it radiation by mind of loving kindness. It dwells pervading one quarter with the mind imbued with compassion, karuna, with the mind imbued with joy, mudita, with the mind imbued with equanimity, upekha. Likewise the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter, thus above, below, across, and everywhere, and to all as to himself, he dwells pervading the entire world with the mind imbued with these four qualities. Vast, exalted, measureless, without hostility, without ill will. Just as a strong conch blower can easily send his signal to the four quarters, so too when the liberation by mind of equanimity or any of the four is developed and cultivated in this way, any limited karma that was done does not remain there, does not persist there. When this was said, Asibandaka Putta, the headman, said to the Blessed One, "Magnificent, Venerable Sir, magnificent." And he took refuge in the triple gems. And he said, "From today let the Blessed One remember me as a lay follower who has gone for refuge for life." In other words, he changed his religion from the Nigantas to the Buddha. So this quite a nice sutta about kamma. So always remember in the Buddha's teachings, if we do wrong, we don't regret too much. Always think of the future. What is past, don't go and have a lot of remorse. Only have the remorse to the extent that we make a determination not to repeat it. Don't be like some people, they have remorse over the past and they commit suicide.